welcome to this very special show. Today I'm in conversation with the management of a company that started its India journey almost 15 years ago. Right now they're trying to work around a new strategy really and turn around its operations in India. I'm talking about Škoda. The Škoda India management is here with us. Sudhir, thank you very much, and Ashutosh, the head of sales and marketing. Sudhir, I would like to ask you and start with you on the new journey that you've embarked upon. With whatever has been done in the past, with what you've decided to do, we spoke about it some time back. Has the results started showing in the way you wanted it since the last time we spoke?
Absolutely, Shwadi, and first of all, thank you very much for having us with you today. Yes, after we spoke, the last couple of months has actually strengthened our conviction that we're completely on the right track. We've improved on several fronts. For the first 7 months of the year, we've actually improved our sales, so that performance is great. Our financial situation continues to be in the right direction towards a sustainable business development, and also our development plans that we talked about on the engineering and purchasing side have also come to fruition. So everything is still green, and we are completely moving in the right direction. So I'm pleased to say that it's all green.
It's all green, okay. But can you take us through the plans and the way you've positioned yourself as a more premium brand as opposed to Volkswagen, while globally it's quite the reverse. So how is that strategy working out for the Indian market?
As you said, we've been here 15 years, and when we looked at the cars we currently have dealt to us, we realized that we have a very, very strong product perception among the customers. We have a very, very loyal customer base. So we said, instead of trying to migrate away from what we have, let's build on it for multiple reasons. One of the most important reasons is that the market also is actually moving more and more towards the kind of products that we represent. Customers want safe products. Customers want products that handle extremely well, but yet at the same time provide them with attributes, such as wonderful fuel economy. So that direction of the customer movement, I think, is going in our direction. So from a strategy perspective, this notion of value luxury that Ashutosh will further elaborate on is really, working out well for us, and I think the trend is in the right direction, which will meet our trajectory of where we are taking the products and where the customers are moving.
Sure, but one of the concerns that's really still is to some extent with the consumers for Škoda is the after sales and the kind of experience they've had in the past, which has was something that I know you have been working on. What is the progress on that? How have you addressed that big issue of after sales and the kind of customer feedback that you're getting?
So let me start with actually where Sudhir left. I think Škoda has been here for 15 years. I think the entry point was such that with Octavia we built great image with our customer, very good loyalty. Yes, there may be some issues here and there in terms of the after sales experience, but this is really a key task, a key management task that we have taken for ourselves in terms of improving the overall ownership experience. And if I see from our internal metrics so far, I think the results are very positive. We continue to develop very strong team in our dealership, in our organization, the customer facing environment, where there is clearly a positive development, there is positive feedback. And particularly, what we are excited with is that, we see more and more our existing customers coming back and upgrading to another Škoda. So I think this is also testimony to the fact that, the whole ownership experience is going in the right direction.
Sure, but what are your sales numbers telling you right now? Are they increasingly getting better? Take us through the numbers if you
So as you know, I think industry is about 7% growth. This year we plan to grow by 8 to 10% with the existing portfolio. So we have no new product this year, which also shows once again that we are growing better than the industry. Also, I think this whole ownership experience I talk about is also adding to the fact that people are willing to upgrade from one car line to the other car line. So we see the movement from the Rapid customers coming to the Octavia customers coming to Superb. So I think that has really added to what we have been trying to achieve here, in terms of getting really keeping our customers with us and also attracting the new customer base.
Sure. Sudhir, I want to get your comments on the brand Skoda is, and we know, of course, it's something that people respect and have a lot of, regard for. But when it comes to the consumer, I think I'm trying to just ask the same question that I did with Ashu, because there is still some resistance and hesitance from consumers to, go and go for the Skoda brand. They still feel, there are some niggling issues. How effectively have you addressed them?
I think, as I think I've said in the past, Swati, the first step in resolution of anything is a self-acceptance of the journey we have to take. We have clearly gone down the journey for several months now. It's been 18 months. And we have completely internalized the fact that we have to improve, first of all. Have we improved in 18 months? Every parameter we measure internally says so. We have recently also got endorsements from very established external benchmarks, which have also measured a tremendous decline in customer complaints, but more importantly, also feedback on positive customer experiences with our dealerships. If you look at social media sites, I think you will see a lot more positive commentary on Skoda. And also I'd like to kind of say, where does this translate into building back to the brand and the sustainable business? One thing we have clearly communicated to everybody and well accepted is good ownership experience, good word of mouth makes for easier, higher sales.
Correct.
Okay, because you really, I'm very conservative in the sense that I truly believe that more than advertising and stuff like that, it is ownership experience and what families and friends tell each other about brands that matters a lot more. And with our wonderful product, we've now, I think, combined it with excellent customer experience. And I mean, both of us are more than happy to make a personal commitment, that we are very positive about it, and we take care of every issue that the customer has in the utmost fairness, with the utmost fairness.
Sure. When you talk about value luxury, and that's a very interesting concept or a space to be in, if you can elaborate a bit more on what really do you intend to do, and also the plans in sub 4 meter,
Sure.
Is completely shelved. If you can throw some light on that.
I think the best way of manifesting it, Swati, is just a very simple thing. The Octavia has now been in the market for about 2 years.
Right.
We haven't had a single rupee of discount on the Octavia for 24 months. That says a lot about our products and about the value that these luxurious products of ours provide to the customer. I think that's a very simple way of trying to communicate it. We believe that our products are competitive with what I would call the luxurious products. I won't mention brands, but yet at a price that is very accessible. That's what we mean by value luxury. I'm willing to go and put our products in test with some of the equivalent sized products of our luxurious competitors, and I'm very confident, and not only me, but I think even and Ashutosh can explain on this, some of the external benchmarks that we get on our comparisons.
Sure.
I think to add to what Sudhir said, I think, so we currently operate in each segment on the upper end. Clearly in that upper end of the segment, so whether it is a mid-size sedan or a large sedan, in that upper end segment, our segment share is close to 40 to 60%. That shows really the strength of the product. So in the price bracket that we operate, we already own 40 to 60% of the space. Having said that, on the price point, but also why customers are willing to pay this price and why customers aspire for Skoda is because if you see even globally, our products are winning test results against even the premium brands. And this has started this new trend with a new Octavia. And of course, it will continue with the new products that Skoda is coming up with. So clearly, this high quality at an accessible price is a positioning which globally Skoda is adapting.
And that's what
I
you're
think
trying to translate in India.
This is where we are really focused.
When you say products that are now, of course, this year you said no new products are coming in, but for the next years, I believe some 3 odd sedans that you've mentioned, what will they be? The new Superb that I believe is one product that will come. Also, if you can confirm whether your positioning in sub 4 meter will come or no, or you continue to be a premium brand.
So from a product strategy point of view, we are clear that we are lining up our short-term plan, which is next year. We will have 2 to 3 product news. We have gone officially announcing it, and that is where I will stay right now. Having said
Ashutosh
that,
is a wonderful marketing guy. He knows what to say, what not to say. We can't divulge our secret weapons too early.
Okay, tell us, these are the sedans that you'll be bringing in.
having said that, and also we have gone officially to say that the sub 4 meter is not an area where we are looking at. So we are very clear
Staying
that where we
4?
want to focus with our product line. Skoda has been very successful by having very high focused approach. So they haven't expanded too fast with the product lineup. They have gone also very carefully in terms of the selection of the segments that we want to be. And I think that is something which also teaches us that we have to be in relevant segments, we have to be strong in those segments.
When I ask you those 3 products, and since you're already in the sedan space, bringing in more in that same segment, if you can throw some light, exactly what segments are you talking about when you say you're not going to be in 4 meter? Will MPV or SUV is one positioning that you would like to do?
So I mentioned already that 2 to 3 product news from the existing lineup or from the new, that is something which obviously we will reveal at the appropriate time. But what is more important is that I think in the last few years there hasn't been too much product news from Skoda. Yeah?
Right.
There was a consolidation phase.
Yeah,
the important thing is that we start the growth phase now. So we grow this year from our volume perspective, and we definitely plan to grow next year and the years after that based on this solid product strategy.
Sure. Sudhir, you want to add in here with the look at the SUV or MPV portfolio?
I think these are important segments for us, Swati. Obviously, the Yeti is an iconic product. Yes, it has certain constraints in terms of the price point. But frankly, for those customers, discerning ones who understand how a helicopter can land on a Yeti, okay, which is true, it clearly is the vehicle of choice. So they don't mind paying that extra amount despite the smaller size, value size proposition, because it's got brilliant ride and handling, it's got brilliant safety, and I will take on any product in terms of its driving comfort, you know, when customers are going on rough roads. I've seen a very leading auto critic actually aiming for potholes on a road with the Yeti, just to feel something, you know, other than a beautiful plane-like ride. So that is how great the product is. But yes, it does require somebody who's willing to pay that extra amount.
So that's about what is already there. I'm saying what.
So building on that legacy, obviously that strength of SUV-ness combined with car-like comfort is something we'd like to build on. How we do it, when we do it, is the question, not whether we will do it. And unfortunately, you know, at this stage, it's a bit premature to talk about how and when we will strengthen our presence there, but we will strengthen our presence in that segment.
Okay. Tell me about the synergies with Volkswagen. I mean, this is, of course, the parent brand. It has a certain positioning in the Indian market. How closely do you guys work in India, considering it's a very contrary to the global situation where you are more premium and they are you know, mass market, so to say, in India, but otherwise it's different. So how do you work with
You have to have exceptions to prove the rule, right,
yes,
Swati?
I think this is a great exception.
So I guess we are the exception. It's a lot of legacy issues, it's a lot of product issues. You know, we have wonderful products. I'm not going to compare it with any of our sister brands. I will compare it only with the competition. It's a philosophy that we take internally, that we do operate as separate brands. And also, more importantly, we see the market as a market, not where Skoda will be or where any of the other VW Group brands will be. We compete against the competition. For me, everybody is the competition. Everybody, no exceptions.
Sure.
So that is how we approach the business. It's something that makes it very, very easy for us to think about our business. We really don't get complicated. Now, that's as far as the market-oriented decision-making is concerned.
But the back end?
At the back end, yes, there are certain synergies. In 2-3 functions, we work together to synergize on group leverages. We do that. We obviously, as you know, also produce cars for each other. So those are the kinds of synergies we do generate. So I think it's a fantastic business model where we leverage what we can, but still make very independent business decisions, especially when it comes to the market and customers.
Sure. Will Rapid be your entry-level sedan and nothing below will
For the
below
foreseeable
Rapid?
future, that is correct, Swati. We really want to ensure that we can get a sustainable business model in that Rapid segment. We definitely want to compete in what we call the Fabia segment or the small car segment, but that's going to be a medium or long-term strategy. We are already developing plans to come back into that segment. We currently are at about 0.7% market share. I think today, with certain, fine-tuning, we can probably get to about a 1% market share, which I think we will get there, in the near future. And then with new products coming in, we probably will get to about a 5% market share in about a 3-year horizon. So that's kind of broadly where we are going.
Pace that you're working
Slow,
on.
steady pace, but very, very solid. Very
When
solid.
you say solid, you mean profitable?
Yes, our business has become a lot more sustainable over the last couple of years. Every function in our organization has contributed with tremendous teamwork to work together to make our company
So when do you
sustainable.
hope to break even and then start making profits? What's the timeline around that?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to put a specific timeline. All I'll say is that we have made tremendous progress. This year is also looking good. And, with the activities that we have coming up in the next 18 months, maybe the day is not far off, when we will reach that stage as well.
But you're not yet breaking even, right?
Well, I mean, depends on how you define break even, but at an operating perspective, at an operating level, we are very, very close to kind of, being above the water.
Sure.
Let's put it
so
that
your
way.
short term looks like more like consolidating your position right now with what you have. But tell us in terms of the investments that would come in, having spent already with the production facility and the products, going forward, what's the number that we are working with?
We don't talk about our investments publicly, but what I've said is that we are investing, for these 2 or 3 products. We are investing quite aggressively. We're not skimping on anything that is product oriented or customer oriented. These are the 2 areas of the business that have consistently gotten attention.
Sure.
And they will continue to do so. We will also be investing much more probably in the medium term than the short term.
When you talk about Skoda, and I understand that it's a brand that works for the country and for the domestic business, for exports, you are not yet very gung-ho. Is the strategy changing with the kind of emphasis the government is giving of making in India, that whole campaign, and the way they will try and give incentives to companies or people who start making here and exporting? What's been happening there?
I think, first of all, I think it's important to mention also, Swati, that as a company, we are gradually gaining more and more confidence with operating in India.
Okay.
I think a lot of things are moving in the right direction, and I'd like to compliment all the policy makers, for providing us that environment. So I think that's the good news. The other thing also is that as we get more comfortable with operating in the country, we will also actively consider the export potential. We're actually thinking of something already, but it's very, very premature to talk about it in concrete terms.
Sure.
Extremely premature.
Right.
But I would like to state that our confidence level on India and India's ability to produce world-class cars, manufacture world-class cars is very high. And we will actively evaluate that more strongly than we currently are.
No, so the concept of making in India for the world is something that you
Very
would be
much
open
so.
to?
It is on the radar screen. It is something that we are looking at, but premature
But
to talk
what
about
markets,
how and when.
if I'm not asking what products,
Yeah.
but if you were to consider what markets would, possibly fit into this strategy?
It's a very interesting question because, as you know, that Škoda is very European focused.
Exactly.
I won't talk about our global strategy, that's not appropriate. But I will say that it is more actually a product-led export thinking.
All right. But it's still some time away before you make any concrete announcements on this.
That is correct. Correct.
And how long is that time?
Don't worry, we will talk. We will talk. I don't think I'll have to say Happy New Year more than once to you.
Okay.
Before we can talk about that.
I would like to ask you, since Auto Expo is coming up, any exciting stuff we can expect from Škoda?
We are preparing ourselves for next 2 to 3 product news for the next year. So next year is really going to be very busy for us. Not only from the product perspective, but as I said, I think our focus on the whole ownership experience and also how to get that ownership experience through also the dealership infrastructure. So we are going for the upgrade for our dealer network. You will see the new format of Škoda dealership very soon.
Will it be on the lines of the global format? Is that
Yes.
something you're working on?
So that is where I think we are going to. And I think one interesting thing about this format is that it is designed around the customer experience. So this is actually one of the first format that I saw where really there is a customer in mind while designing the whole store and connecting all the processes, in both physical environment and also, in terms of how the people will interact inside that physical environment. So we will have close to 10 stores ready in this year, if
will
not
these
more.
be company owned or you are?
No, this will be our existing network which will get upgraded, or if there are some more new dealerships that we are going to come up with. So I think you will see a new face of Škoda, both from the new dealership format. You will see the new face of Škoda through the new products. You will see the new face of Škoda also with the new ownership experience.
So when do we see these dealerships come on stream?
So this year we are targeting to have at least 10 dealerships ready with this. So there are pilot projects which are already on the way, and I think we should be having the first one ready by end of September.
With the way we've seen last couple of years being very volatile, right now we've seen some companies doing fine, but some are not. So it's more like, it's not really an industry-wide problem. It's about individual companies performing individually in the segments that they are. What's your own reading?
I think that growth will accelerate and get to double digits in about 12 months. So that's one aspect from a macro perspective. You're absolutely correct that certain companies are sort of moving away from the pack. And I think it comes from learning how to operate in India and internalizing those lessons. And I have to congratulate those that have successfully done it. And I think we are also in that phase. We are not ever going for double-digit market share in the next decade or so. That means we want to be clear about that. We are not looking for that. We are looking for very, very gradual, sustainable, high-quality growth in that value luxury segment. So I think brands have to figure out who they are. I think part of the rat race that you're seeing in certain segments is because there's no clear positioning of certain brands. Those brands that tend to be trusted more tend to do better.
True.
And that again goes back to our improvements in the ownership experience. We have internalized it, we believe in it, and frankly, I think we've licked the problem.
All right. So do less, but do it right.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for talking to Bloomberg TV.
Thank you
Always
for
pleasure
having
speaking
us.
to you both.
Thank you.